Today, we're going back to Las Vegas, a project I've been working on for many years now. But the last couple of months, Las Vegas has been looking a little bit different. The Formula One circus has landed in Vegas, and it completely transformed its iconic streets. A little while back, the guys from FC1 Boat Racing reached out to me to do the same, and recreate the Las Vegas Formula One circuit together. I quickly realized that I've only built up around a quarter of the circuit area, so in this video we'll start filling some stuff up. Alright, so as I said, this video is going to be about filling up some areas around the Formula One circuit. And in doing so, I'm temporarily going to be breaking a rule that I've had for myself since the start of this project. Namely, that I always want to build the interiors of the casinos as well. I've been doing this already since I started building the very first casino, the Mirage, over 8 years ago, which was obviously way before I started recording anything at all. But since then I've seen many other Las Vegas recreations come out. Some obviously more impressive than others, but I haven't been able to find any with full interiors, or at least not on this scale. So I've always tried to keep that going, just to set this recreation apart a little bit. But now, at least for this episode and the next, that'll have to be put on hold. Because the downside of doing the interiors is that building just a single casino can take months. And with the race approaching, the FC1 team wanted a backdrop for their race, and detailed interiors were not going to be of any use for that. So I decided to pause the Planet Hollywood interior for a moment and build a new casino here on the other end of the strip, the Palazzo. It's a really magnificent hotel, one of the tallest on the strip and fairly new as well compared to some of the others. And building just the exterior, it actually went surprisingly fast. So you can see me now building the side/back of the resort, and this is one of the streets that Formula One has raced over, so I really wanted to make sure everything you can see from a car on this road looks absolutely perfect. And basically the whole goal of this build is to make it look as nice as possible for anyone racing on the street below. Cool thing is you can actually do that yourself as well. Like I said, this project was done together with the FC1 boat racing team. That's led by a guy called Adam's Apple, and he has his own YouTube channel where you can actually watch the race held on this circuit as well. And basically they recreate every Formula One circuit on the calendar as an ice racing track and then race on them in parallel with the actual real life race. So they have a whole competition and everything, and it's honestly surprisingly fun to watch. And if you join their server, you can actually race on any of these Formula One tracks yourself, as well as dozens if not hundreds of other random tracks. So I'll put some links in the description. I think it's definitely worth checking out. And by now we've started building the front of the resort. This is the part that's actually on the strip on Las Vegas Boulevard. And it's where the F1 cars take a left turn, so they race right in front of here as well. And all of this was a bit tricky to build, as it was all on a slightly awkward angle. And the same goes for the big tower here as well. It took a bit of measuring and some calculations to get all the angles right. But from there we can go vertical, and honestly that's always the most fun part. You can spend hours on the ground level stuff and put tons of detail in there, but it just won't look like all that much until that big tower in the middle gets built. And obviously that tower is really just a fraction of the build, and usually by far the easiest part. But of course that's the thing that catches the eye, so I'm really happy with how this one turned out. It really is an eye catcher. This very top part of the tower is where it still got a little bit interesting, as the end of each of these wings has an interesting architectural part on it with these pillars and green caps on top of them. And those were actually quite tricky to build in the different angles, especially because the front two needed to be completely symmetrical. So the two parts in completely different angles still needed to look exactly the same. But I think I managed quite alright. If you want to check out this map outside of an ice boat, by the way, that is now also possible, because I've finally come around to launching a Patreon where you can download the latest version of this map, as well as any other map I've built so far, like my recreation of the tallest buildings in Europe, as well as the next continent coming very soon. And of course it's just an awesome way to support the channel, so I'm curious to see which one of you will be my first Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description for anyone interested. Here we are building a kind of weird building on the Las Vegas Strip, as it is still only a fraction of what it was supposed to be. It was planned to open as a 43-story tall condominium tower, but was cancelled as the 2008 recession hit the project hard and the Las Vegas condominium bubble burst. So now it sits only a couple stories tall as the backdrop of this beautiful entrance plaza here. As we're kind of laying out all these roads here, it actually also slopes up a little bit, so I had to raise some bits and pieces towards the left here, and then we start dressing this whole plaza up. With a massive fountain in the middle and roads crisscrossing in and out of the underground parking garages all nestled between tons of greens and palms here. I really like the look of this area, especially as we continue dressing it up, putting some texture into the grass here with some drier, mulchy areas here and there. And then of course the palm trees. And I always love building those. I just build these granite sticks sticking out of the ground wherever I want a palm tree. And then I have like 20 different palm crowns saved as schematics, which I paste one by one on top of those sticks. So that ensures that every palm tree looks different from the ones around it. Because I always hate that look where you start to see symmetry in trees that have been copied and pasted. So any tree I paste, I never put near the same tree again. Just to keep the illusion that every single one of them is custom, when really they aren't. And that finishes off this front plaza as we move to the back again, because I also wanted to do the other side of this road. Behind here is the Wynn Resort, which I'm sure I'll build at some point, but for now I only wanted to build the stretch directly along the road just to fill in the sidelines from the track. So I'm just building the side walls of the shopping mall here, and especially the greenery around it, as that's what really can be seen mostly from the road. And that already leads us towards the end of this episode, so thank you so much for watching. I'll leave you guys with some cinematics. Don't forget to like and subscribe, check out FC1 Boat Racing and maybe my Patreon too. And I'll see you guys in the next one.